Back at it again, Scott Spencer. You know what time it is. It's time for the top 10 preseason East Texas linebackers. You kind of know the drill by now. These guys who I think are the best 10 linebackers coming back based off of their performance from 2024. Linebackers are one of the most pivotal positions on the field. You've got to be the quarterback of the defense most of the time. They line up the D linemen. They talk with the secondary about getting the coverage straight. It is a very important position, and when you've got one guy on the field that is a difference maker at that position, he can be the difference between wins and losses. So let's get right into it. The top 10 linebackers coming back from East Texas. Number 10 from Longview, senior to be Jasir Hampton Williams. And Hampton Williams last year had to back up Brendan Reese and Kason Brooks, who are one of the best duos to ever play at Longview. And, unfortunately he had to be the backup, but he did get a chance to play in other positions last year. Last year he lined up at defensive end and linebacker for Longview. He finished with 58 tackles, 8 of them for loss, and 2 sacks. And, with his athleticism and then that unique experience of actually playing defensive line, kind of gives him a better understanding of the position, and he ought to flourish in his senior season as a starting Mike for Longview. At number 9, from Texas High, it is East Shayland Cooper. And Cooper is a small dude, man. Like physically, he's a small guy. You would think he's a safety or a corner if you saw him outside of pads. But then when you turn on the film and you see what this dude does, he brings the physicality. His first highlight, you see him blow up a puller and then still make the tackle. And I think that's intentional. With a guy that size, he wants to let everybody know that you can't judge me based off my size, but just judge me at how I hit and get to the ball. Sideline to sideline, very physical in between. And then, he's played next to the best linebacker the last couple of seasons, backed him up and then played with him last year in Isaiah Dowden. And I think he's got a lot to learn. He learned a lot from Dowden, I believe. Texas High always has pretty good inside linebackers that coach extremely well out there. Shout out to AJ. I'm expecting a lot from East Shayland Cooper, graded out as an 87 last year. And number 8, from Texas High again, this guy is an outside linebacker. You might think he's a safety on first look, another small body kind of guy, but the physicality and the way that he gets after it. Blake Banks is going to be a name to know this year in 2025. Last season, he had 51 tackles, 11 for loss, a sack, and 2 interceptions, and 3 fumble recoveries. So he's a fast athlete. His hair is on fire. He's always trying to get to the ball. He's in the right spot at the right times. And he's going to, both him, Cooper, and Banks are going to be called upon to try to be, some really good, tough defensive players along with Duncan McGee. And Texas High is going to try to reload like they always do. At number 7, from Mount Pleasant, it is Ashad Smith. And Ashad is a ball player, man. He's fast. He's quick to the ball. And then he's got some really good defensive linemen in front of him. 2 of those guys made the list last on the defensive line list. And so with those guys and that odd structure that they play, eating up a lot of those blocks, taking on linemen, it allows fast guys like Ashad Smith to run behind and just make play after play after play. And I expect Ashad to do a lot of that. Last year he had 63 tackles, 18 of them came for loss and had 5 sacks. I expect that number to be triple digit this year. I expect Smith to be in the 100s in the tackles. And with what's in front of him, there's no reason why he can't get that accomplished here in 2025. At number 6, from Winsboro, it is Colson Hammonds. And Colson Hammonds and Winsboro, mostly known for their offense. Noli Carroll, and then, of course, the receiver, Camden Capehart, absolutely lit it up last year. But that defense came up with stops at critical times in big-time playoff games, especially like the one Colson had against Jefferson with the interception. And then when you look at him, he's not very big. He's about 5'7" to 5'9". He's a big dude weight-wise. It looks like he's easily over 200 pounds. And when you look at his build, you don't think he should move as fast as he does. But, with great coaching and great film study and just being urgent and playing as fast as possible, Colson Hammonds makes a lot of plays that a lot of people his size and stature just wouldn't make. No numbers on him, but last year he was a first-team All-District guy. He graded out as an 89 last season, and I expect Colson to make the top 100 in 2025. At number 5 from Athens, Texas, we've got Jabari Taylor, the junior to be. Last season, as a sophomore, Taylor graded out as a 90 overall, just barely missing the cut as a top 100 player. Taylor does a lot for Athens. He's an edge rusher first, very good with his hands. He can drop back into coverage. He is athletic enough to go cover somebody up. It's not what they asked him to do because he is a little bit of a heavier dude, and he does play his best going forward. Got some pretty good pass rushing moves. He's really good with his hands and evading blocks and making sure that offensive tackles don't put their hands on him. Offensively, he takes the wildcat position and he goes and gets first downs and touchdowns for his team as much as possible. Don't have the numbers on this guy, but was very impressed with his film last year. Like I said, graded out as a 90, just barely missing that cut. And he's a guy that I expect to make the list in 2025. And at number 4, Mr. Do-It-All, all by his damn self, Mr. Cody Atkinson from center. The Rough Riders, mostly known for their high-flying offense. They haven't played great defense over the last 5 years that I've been covering anyway. But Cody Atkinson in the middle of that defense tries to do it all by himself. Last season, he graded out as a 90, just barely missing that cut again. He tore it up last season. He was All-East Texas. He had 156 tackles. 42 of them came from behind the line of scrimmage. He had 7 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 pass breakups, and an INT for the Rough Riders last year. He is like most times, especially in your spread teams, he's the only linebacker in the box. And he kind of mans everything down from C-gap to C-gap, but he also can run from sideline to sideline, noted by his 156 tackles last year in 2024. This dude is great, and everybody around him on defense might not be great, but they're in the middle. They have a strong piece to build around, and that is number 21, if he's still number 21, Cody Atkinson. And at number 3, from Marshall, Texas, we've got the senior to be Landon Jones. Landon Jones, in his third year, going into his third year as a starter out there for Marshall as a sophomore, he played a lot of fullback. He was running the ball, blocking. He played some linebacker, but not as much. He played more offense as a sophomore than he did as a junior. As a junior, he was the starting Mike for Marshall, and boy, did he have a year. LJ came in on the top 100 last year at number 70. He had 124 tackles. 13 of those came from loss, and he had 12 sacks on top of that. He can do it all. Obviously, with 12 sacks, he can blitz, right? And a lot of those sacks may not necessarily be in blitz. He's just got really great instincts and can see gaps opening up. Quarterbacks trying to run, and he's got the type of triggering and the speed to go downhill and make big plays. He's prototypical size, man. He's about 6'2". He's about 215 to 220. He can run probably a 4.7. He's got great speed for that level. He can definitely play next level football. I expect him to, in his recruiting, to pick up pretty big after this senior year. I think he's a Division I type player. And, Marshall was pretty good last year. Marshall made it to the 3rd or 4th round. They got beat to Sock. And it wasn't a blowout by any means. They stayed in the game, just didn't have enough offense to beat them. And they really kind of limited their offense and made them just a running team. So Landon Jones coming back in the middle for Marshall. I expect to have a big year and probably inside the top 50 in his senior season for the Marshall Mavericks. At number 2, from Carthage, Texas, it's the newest Colorado Buffalo commit, and that is Carson Crawford. I've been in love with Carson Crawford's game since the first time I cut his highlight tape on last season or in January. This dude flies around the field. I know Quebec is, highly, and I've said it on this highlight tape when I named him number 52 last year. A lot of people love Beck, but I don't know how you didn't love Crawford on the other side. Crawford, just as tall, 6'3", 195, 200 pounds, flies all over the field, super athletic. 91 tackles last year. 21 of them came for loss, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, had a pick six and a fumble recovery. Both go to the crib. He also played wide receiver and tight end, so he has a great set of hands too. Need him a full-time both ways player, but in a crutch and when they needed somebody to go in there and make a play, they would stick Crawford in there and he would go do it. So it's nice to see that he's committed to the Colorado Buffalo. It's nice to see that he's got his recruitment behind him. He's got a home in Division One, and I think he's that type of player. And I'm glad that other people thought that too. And Crawford's going to get his chance to play. But first, in 2025, he's going to try to do everything that he can to make sure that Carthage has raised that trophy up one more time. I expect Crawford to be inside the top 40 this year for the top 100 players of East Texas. And at number 1, mentioned them earlier during Crawford's time, but it is DeQuivis Beck, the Texas A&M commit. DeQuivis Beck, 6'3", 215, 220, runs a 4.5, 4.6, 40. Fast, athletic, flies to the ball, hits people hard, makes a sure, sound tackler. It's just all over the tape. You can tell that this dude is special. He was special the year before. Just barely missed a cut. I graded him out as an 89 as a sophomore. This past year, he graded out as a 94. He's just a special player. And the Aggies got themselves a couple of good ones from Carthage. And with DeQuivis Beck, with his speed, his athleticism, his hit power, his ability to cover, his ability to just be savvy and be around the ball at all times. Over 100+ tackles for him in his junior season. Of course, he's going to do everything he can to try to raise that trophy the 11th time in Carthage's history at the end of 2025 this year. But like I said, he's got a home at Texas A&M, 4-star prospect, by far the best linebacker in East Texas coming back for the 2025 season.